So here to come back and talk a little bit more about foreign exchange, whether cash or cards, or some other things that I left out of the first video that I wanted to come back and discuss about things that I either learned while I was traveling and exchanging money for foreign exchange rates, or exchanging my cash U.S. dollars for the foreign currency, and or using my credit card to make purchases. And I want to talk about that versus some other things that came up that I also learned after the fact online. So one thing that I didn't talk about in the first video that was another important option that I didn't mention for how you can exchange money, or at least how I was able to when I was in Ethiopia, was at the hotel that I stayed at. They allowed for me to exchange just at the desk, at the front desk at the hotel. They kind of, it's like they deal a lot in cash. Actually, it was kind of strange how much cash money they had out, just sitting out at the front desk counting it. But I was able to make my exchanges at the hotel for free. Now I'm sure that this isn't going to be the case most places, but when I say by free, I mean she just exchanged the local birr currency uh, relative to the exchange rate of the dollar, and it didn't seem that she charged any fees or extra money on top of that. If she did, it was very little because the exchange was pretty close to the amount of whatever the exchange rate was. I don't recall right now. If I go look it up, I'll pop it here on the screen at this point. But at the time, uh, I knew what it was, and I did the calculation in my head pretty much, and it was pretty close to the same amount she gave me in exchange for my dollars. So this was not a hotel that was, what do you call it? This was not a chain, international chain hotel. The name of the hotel, also, I don't recall that name right off the top of the bat, but if I figure it out before I upload this video, I'll put that on screen as well. If you're in Addis Ababa, this is a place you can probably go and make an exchange some money, especially if you're staying there. But even if you're not, you could always check with your hotel and find out if this is a thing, if they will make an exchange of U.S. dollars with their local currency, and that could be a possible way for you to either get cheaper rates than the bank, because this is not their normal business, so they're not trying to make big money off of that. Kind of a courtesy to local guests, or possibly even get a free exchange where you get this direct value and you're not having to pay any exchange rates or interest or taxes or anything. So that's something to check out, at least in certainly in Ethiopia and possibly elsewhere. It doesn't hurt to ask. So this is another thing I thought about, was getting money out of the ATMs, getting cash directly from the ATMs. And I didn't want to do this with my bank card. I tried to get a cash advance with my ATM. I tried to get a cash advance with my credit card so that I would not have to use my debit card, my bank card, and access my bank funds directly. So I wanted to use credit cards. So if there was any problem that with the money, or any type of money being accessed uh, fraudulently, or anything like that, the fraud would be on my credit card, which it will just get replaced by the credit card company. It's not my actual money. It's the same way I shop online. I don't ever use debit cards online. I only use credit cards, because if my account number is stolen, it's stolen by a card reader live in this situation. In foreign exchange, I didn't want it being money being deducted from my account. That's my actual personal cash. Versus a credit card, that's Visa and MasterCard's money. It's a fraud. They're going to replace it. And so you're not losing your actual money. Even if your bank is going to replace funds on your debit account, um, on your personal bank account or savings account, whatever kind, that's still your actual cash money. And that's just a belief that they will replace it. You don't know that. And even if they do, that could be tied up for weeks or months, where your actual money is gone. You don't have available to yourself. Um, Somebody taking money off my credit card, that's not actual money. That's just a number on an account saying that it's owed. For your you put in your claim against it, and they take it off your account at some point. They take off the charges off your account at some point. With your actual bank account, you're actually losing your money. So I tried to do a cash advance off of my credit cards, and they wouldn't allow a foreign cash advance. Well, my bank maybe wasn't allowing cash advance in a foreign country. I'm not sure which way it was. I can't recall if the local bank in South Africa wasn't allowing the cash advance, or it was my credit card not allowing me to do it in a foreign country. Either way, that didn't work out for me. So that option was a no-go. So finally, the other point that I left out of the last video was I was reading online. This was after the fact of me going. I think I actually saw one of these kind of briefly when I was preparing to go, but I was on my way out and I wasn't going to stop to do this. Actually, there's a good reason why I didn't that I'll mention here, but it was the fact that there are no foreign exchange fee credit cards. So no exchange fee credit cards are available out there. And so that's an option. I would say that's not an option that I would want to bother with if I'm only traveling 1, 2, 3 times a year, going through the hassle of setting up another credit card, taking a credit hit for taking out more credit, having a card there with a credit balance that increases the amount of available credit that you have against you on your credit report, the amount of revolving possible credit that you have on your credit report for a card that you're almost never going to use just once to 3 times a year. To me, it doesn't make sense versus just going ahead and paying 3% as I showed in the last video. And maybe I'll run that here again, how that works to where you only pay about 3% on your credit card. In this credit column here, I'm sorry, debit column here, you can see that there is a transaction fee above every transaction. So you see a transaction, and the way it posts a transaction fee after it or above it. So if we take a look at all these transaction fees, these are the foreign transaction fees, as it says, and we can do the calculations here on the calculator, and we'll see that they come out to be the same for all of them. These two that you can actually see what the transactions are, these are both in Germany when I was in the airport in Frankfurt coming back. So 0.029% or 0.029, which is 2%, really rounded up to 3%. So my transaction fees are 3%, and even if I go down further, you'll see the same. It'll be the same thing if you did 0.22 divided by 7.3. If I go down to here, one of these while I was in South Africa, like these transactions down here, we can do the same thing. It's going to come out to be the same, so it doesn't seem to be country dependent. So that's not a lot of money, 3%. If I'm going out, I'm eating, I'm paying $10, and $10 will get you a nice meal. Let's say in like South Africa, it's not the same as a $10 meal here. Even if you're paying $10 US dollars, you're getting. I think I went to this one place and we got these full meals, and it was like $7 or $8. And I was talking to the locals about how people come there and say the meals are cheap, and they are relatively cheap. That same $7, $8 meal would have been $15 or more here at that restaurant that I was at. So you're already getting a cheap meal. I'd rather pay $10.30 because I have to pay 3% in exchange fees on the credit card and not have the hassle of having a whole nother credit card and all the other issues that brings with it related to my credit and managing another account, than to worry about bothering to set up a whole another credit card, just to save a measly 3% once or twice a year. But that's an option to look into for you, especially if you travel a lot, like you're a business traveler, or you just go on a lot of vacations out of the country. You're going out of the country every month, every other month, then it might be beneficial for you. So that's something else to look into. All right, so that's my second video on what you can do while you're traveling and some things to think about. Check out the first video on foreign exchange rates, cash versus credit. Again, this is my experience. Comment below about your experience traveling and how you exchange money and what kind of rates you get. Lion Runner, reviews or revisits. I'm out.